Welcome to round 6 of the 2021 Formula E Offline Championship here at the Lisbon ePrix at in the Portuguese city of Estoril. And yeah, I am Florian Wölker and here is Blake Moore. We are commentating this round.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm Blake Moore, the co-commentator for today, and he is only going to be here for qualifying.
Yep, that's right. Don't have time for the race, unfortunately, but we will have her backup.
Oh no! For what?
I would like to talk about the Grand Prix games thing that has been going on because of this loading screen, but I rather not. So yeah.
The Autodromo is the Estoril circuit. It's a 7.03 mile track in the middle of the city of Estoril. It has corners, and some of them is very famous. Parabolica Ayrton Senna and Parabolica Interior. It's a very flowy track, flow. So, how do you think the drivers will handle the conditions? I mean, the track.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see how the track is like with the Formula E cars. I think it's the I actually did not really watch last season, but is it the first or the second time?
Second.
Okay, but yeah, it should be quite interesting, especially the first corner, since the corners are very quick on this version of the track, unlike the modern one. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, speaking of the modern one, we've got rid of the cancerous chicane in the middle of the part of the track, so at least we'll have better overtaking opportunities down the straight, and not create more problems on the track. And the first car to go out is the Audi driver of Robert Ionescu.
Yeah, I mean, his season so far has been quite decent. When you compare it to his last year in DTM, where he really was not that good with the car. Most likely, he doesn't have what it takes to race the touring cars that much, but he is quite fast with the open wheelers, so we could expect more from him in the next few races as well. See how he will perform in the qualifying.
Yes, indeed, and every single car is now out on track. Let's take us through the lap of Estoril. First corner is downhill into this very sweeping right-hander. Very quick, very close to the curbs, just trying to get the entry point right. And this is one of the first harder braking zones on the track. He could go for an overtake at turn 3. Turn 3, which, and these section of track is very slow. Very slow that you could, that if you catch anyone off guard, in a studio sets a benchmark from 26 to 9.6 in the first section. Down the straight, what kink right there. And then going to one of the Parabolicas, there's two on this track, there's Parabolica Interior. And just getting very close to the curbs, there goes the remaining of Robert Ionescu, just there. And then just going from Orihella. And then going back up the hill, past the helipad up to Tanque. Really up, very fast uphill. Plot onto the right, very quick, very fast. S's, and then one of the famous corners on the back, Parabolica to Ayrton Senna, and named after the famous racing driver Ayrton Senna. It's a very, very long right-hander, and you go around the final corner, and you're eventually going to cross the line, and that's going to be a lap for Estoril, and the benchmark is 1:22, and Raleigh beats that by a couple of seconds. Then Ross Denholm goes P3. John Tobler goes first. Goes lap by the Czech driver. Brandon Jackson goes even quicker, and Koki Cheong is now on a lap. So let's see how the Malaysian driver will do here. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Oh, it's Sucelli!
What has he done there? Let's see. Most
And
likely
Sucelli.
just has gone off. Yep,
Yeah,
made
and
a
just
mistake, lost the
lost the
rear.
ABSs.
That's it. Yeah, he will have to improve his time on the next run he will get, because this one will most likely not be so good.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Prazan is crossing the line, only P7. Dumel is...
Is he stuck? Is he stuck? No, he's...
No, he's not.
Quite bumpy. He will... Don't crash into the wall, otherwise it's session over for him. But he gets it back on the track.
He's listened.
So let's see what his lap time is gonna be.
I bet it's gonna be 2 minutes 10 or something.
I think that will be in the 107% rule. Just kidding. No, obviously not. Yes.
Yes. And now I think we'll get the next set of cars coming out, and there's the two Audi drivers. Had a alright first run, and then got beaten up by the BMW of Brandon Jackson.
Yeah, there's certainly some drivers who need to step up their game a little bit for today in the qualifying. As for example, Ionescu, he's only sitting in P8 currently, so he needs to do a better lap later on in the session.
Yeah, yes, indeed, because he still needs to be in his title fight with his teammate because right now the teammate which is Santino Andreoli is actually leading the championship by a comfortable margin. Also, Tobler is actually P3. That's I've got to say that's a really good lap by the man from Czechia.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good lap from him, knowing that he's in the last position in the championship. So I think he has found a good rhythm on this circuit.
And also, I think Tobler is in one of the solo cars, right? I think he's in class 3. I think he's in class 3. So I got to say that's a really good performance by Tobler. Hopefully, he gets his times consistent.
Mahindra is, I think, not the best team on the grid right now, but his lap is really good for that. So let's see if he could even improve.
And here's the next couple of cars going out now. We got Sir Choi in the Neo, and behind is one of the BMWs. Definitely not Brandon Jackson.
I think that's Marvo Koenig.
Yes, Marvo Koenig. In the two USA rounds, Marvo Koenig has completely just gone down the toilet after Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I just looked in the wiki page for him, and it says that he got some points in the first two races, but after that it has, as you said, gone down the toilet. So yeah, at Road Atlanta and also at Portimao he had a retirement. So yeah, that's not really good. And at Miami he only finished in P20. So yeah, I think that he will hope for the second half of the season to be better.
Yeah, meanwhile, so Choi and Mara Koenig is going side by side. Side by side, the race hasn't even started, everyone. We don't want to have any racing or crashes in the Tier 1, please. There's Mara Koenig, just through this slow section here, just trying to barrel the BMW down. Let's have a look at the first sector. He's actually up on his time, so Mara Koenig could go for top 5 here, or even top 3.
Yeah, this looks really good. Maybe he has heard my commentary, so he will try to step up his game for the second half of the season, get some good results, so he can redeem himself from the poor results he had in the last 3 races. But let's see, it's not over with the lap. He can still lose some time. Let's see. Oh, that's even better now. It looks like a really good lap from him.
Yeah, Koenig could go for pole position here, even too. So right now it could be a BMW 1-2 at the top here. So Koenig's going through the parabolic at Antenna, going on the exit of it, crosses the line, and it does go a pole.
Yeah,
so
that's a really good lap. It's almost 7 tenths in front of his teammate.
Coach Cheong actually goes 4th. Ian Carpenter crosses the line on the P11, and Toba's going out again. And there's everyone's home hero in Portugal, Michael Macho. And just going now on the exit of the quarter Ayrton Senna. Only P2 for the Portuguese lad. 500,000 off Koenig's time. So Koenig took an absolute flyer. But what about Enes Paratsky? Crosses the line now. Only P5. Alex Froster. Could he do anything in the Virgin car? There's 2 Virgins behind him. Kulisek, only P2. So Koenig has just absolutely destroyed everyone that lap. What a lap by the...
Oh, watch out for Kumar.
Kumar, 4th.
Yeah, that was also a good one.
Yeah, Jake Tillersley crosses the line now. Only P2. Koji Cheong in the other Mahindra is now going to cross the line. It's going to be 3rd. So Koenig has done a really good lap. Whatever that lap was, he's just done it. Just send it, just flat out.
Yep, that's right. Koenig, I think, wants to prove himself here in this qualifying session, that he can be really quick, and I think his lap time certainly shows it. But yeah, it's still around 18 minutes to go in this session, so let's see what the other drivers will do. Shelley obviously is still in last place with a gap of 42 seconds, but let's see what he can do. Also, I just noticed that the people who are in P1 to P3 in the championship have actually not taken pole this season, with them being Andreoli, Parachki, and Mocho. That's quite interesting, actually. So that shows you that taking pole doesn't necessarily mean that you will get the big points on the race, which will happen right after this qualifying session.
I was just taking a toilet break.
No problem.
And also I'd say welcome to Bob Marissa. The only guy you can actually support in this Brazilian is Dumbbell. So yes. So Prazan is going to be the next drag we're going to come out on the track. and I think Prazan is. Wait, right? Yeah. Prazan is actually doing. Is actually doing well, but not. He's actually trying to keep up with his BTCC from BTCC teammate Jake Tillersley.
Yeah, Jake Tillersley managed to score in every single round of this season so far. So let's see what he can do in the race. I mean, at the moment it looks pretty good for him since he's in the second grid spot. So it could mean that he will maybe even get his best result of the season since he actually did not take a podium so far, but a pole position at Atlanta. Now Prazan will start his lap.
There goes the Indonesian. Off goes the Indonesian into turn 1. I think there's be traffic ahead of him, but I don't think it's going to be traffic to destroy his lap. Wait.
It's quite close actually. It could destroy his lap. Yeah,
It's destroyed his lap.
Yeah, I think that's his lap done and dusted, as George Roque likes to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he can overtake him to maybe get a slight chance back, but taking the outside is not really a good idea, and yeah, that's his lap completely ruined now. He will not improve.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. But I think Prazan will be a nuisance to the car, to the DST up ahead. Because he will be starting his lap very soon, after Prazan finished his, I'll remember seconds.
Yeah, I expect that Prazan will most likely overtake him and hold him up as well. But his straight line speed is actually not that good. Oh, actually it improved. Same time as Parachki. So that's quite interesting.
The mouse goes 5th. And there's Razan in the Porsche, 5th. So Troy's now starting her lap. Ross Denholm is actually starting to is actually picking up the pace a little bit. So there's the Scottish, there's the driver from Scotland going across the line. Here comes Ross Denholm. Crosses the line, 5th. Robert Ionescu.
Oh, first.
Goes pole.
Now that's the lap what he needs. Let's see with his teammate Andreoli what he can do. It looks like he's tied with his lap at the moment. And he doesn't improve.
Jackson 6th. I think Ionescu is the first driver to break into the 120s. Ooh, yeah, he's ruining Carpenter's lap present.
Yeah, he will now come into the pits as well. I don't know if the pit entry will slow cars down, but let's see. Yeah, it does, unfortunately. So the lap from Carpenter is also destroyed. Aviat is getting more lucky. And he's going to 12th place, so that's a good one. Sana Choi, let's see where she will go. It's P18, right.
Ooh, that's a. I don't think that's good cornering by.
Yeah, she's making mistakes. Some parts on the
I think
circuit.
it's a he, mate.
He,
It's
she,
a
it.
he. Coach Cheong is actually a he. What's going on here? Oh,
Yeah, my
God.
bad. I'm getting confused with Asian names. Actually, when Rahul first joined the OC, I thought that Rahul was a she as well, so I can give that away. Sorry, Rahul, if you heard this. No, I will most likely get some words from Rahul. But yeah, it is what it is.
It feels like we're back at Friday night again. God, right. Right, Kumar is the first of the Group 2 cars going to come out on track. Meaning by that is, okay, it's complicated. The flow would be sound like gifts. Is Kumar going to start his lap? Will he beat the traffic? Yes, he is. Kumar down to the first corner. It's a slow braking zone into curve 3. Kumar just going through Parabolica Inter. Now coming down the hill and then back up the hill again near the helipad.
Yeah, Kumar is down on the lap.
He's down his lap.
His exit at the final corner also didn't seem to be really good, and yeah, 2 seconds down.
Michael Macho now starting his lap. Here comes Jake Tilsley coming down the hill now. And I'm trying to go up the hill past the helipad. Into sector 2, up the hill he goes. 1 second down, that's really bad by the Brits.
Ooh, did Quan make a mistake? That's 4 seconds. 4.5 seconds actually off. Let's see what happened. Maybe got hold up as well. I have no idea. Yeah,
Got held. Yeah.
held up.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
ideal, my friends. Yeah, he got.
Oh, and even made a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually 2 reasons why the lap was not really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheong is on a good lap as well. No.
Yeah, at the moment looks like that this run is not really working out for most of the drivers. We don't have so much improvements. Macho behind Kumar, but I guess that he will unfortunately get held up at the pit entry. So this will most likely his lap being destroyed. And
Yeah.
yes,
Behind him is Chelly, 10th.
not 44 seconds off anymore, so that's good.
Yeah. So, and here goes Alice Kratzy, crosses the line, doesn't improve. Gulasek doesn't improve either. Demel's going to cross the line now. In the Nissan, he's going to cross the line now, and he's going to be... No, it's going to be a couple of tenths off. Jake Tibbles is going in the pits. Prasen's going for another lap. He's actually up on his lap.
Yeah, it looks like a good lap. 3/10 up.
Crosses the line, only P12. Tobler doesn't improve. Koji Chiung is going into the pits. Ross Denholm is going to try and drag that Venturi on the edge of the Interstellar Parabolica. Doesn't improve.
I think these runs are done. Wait, there's
Brandon
Jackson, so let's see what he will do.
Jackson's up by 7 to
72,000 here.
72,000.
Now going to the Parabolica interior. Let's see how he will do the second sector. His first one looked better than his last time. Maybe has a chance getting a even better lap than he did before. Getting close to UNESCO, most likely not getting in front.
Going past DS, and now going to the Parabolic at the Ayrton Senna. And then there's Brandon Jackson crosses the line, goes P4.
Yep, P4 only for him. Looked more promising in the first sector, but he lost some time.
Justin Kumar destroys lap with facts and logic. Now Razvan's going to start his lap.
Now is Mohammed racing down the start-finish straight. See what I did there?
Yep.
Through the quick turn 1 and turn 2.
MS curve 3. Coming up now, this is a very slow corner. It's very tricky to get right. Razvan just going for the VIP section. That's not a good. He's definitely not be improving on this lap. Yeah, Razvan's definitely not going to improve on his lap. But Ionescu, he's on pole position. He's going to improve more. No. At the moment, Robert Ionescu is going to be not going to improve on his pole time. Lacey Nygaard's starting his lap. Yeah, Koenig has either got held up by Jake Tilsley in front or something else happened to him. Koenig's crossing the line. Doesn't improve. So Choi doesn't improve. Rather than entering the pits. Actually, Andrioli's is actually improving on his time. Here's the championship leader crosses the line. Only P12. Kochu Chiong is currently improving on his time. There's only a couple minutes left of the session. So these are the last runs. Kochu Chiong, not a good second sector by the Malaysian. Well, not by the Malaysian driver currently at Venturi. As Kochi Chiong just rapidly ramming down the street, just bordering down the straight, crosses the line. Doesn't improve. Mighty Nabiard crosses the line now. Doesn't improve. Boss there. Does improve only P16. Incarpeters will improve as well. And it's going to be P18. Here's Michael Mocho. He's definitely not improving this time. It'd be disappointing qualifying time for his home ground. Partner's improving this time, but he's getting held up by Qmart in the Neo. 8, 7, 6, 5. I think that's going to be the end of every single qualifying lap at the moment. Quan is still on his lap actually, so
yeah,
through sector 2, but he's going to get most likely going to get held up by
yeah. Even though he's currently on an improvement, it looks like that with the pit entry it could really quickly turn into a bad lap.
Yeah,
we will just see
this is too close.
happening right now. Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate sometimes with Grand Prix 4 how it works like with the pit entry, but it is what it is. For some tracks you can fix it, for some tracks you can't, and I think this looks like a track where you cannot do much to prevent this from happening. So people will have some luck sometimes, and sometimes they are unlucky. But yeah, Ionescu is taking pole for the race.
Yeah.
He should be very happy about that.
Yeah, indeed. So, and also, I don't think pole position would secure his race pace because let's be honest, the results are not on Saturday but on Sunday, unless your name's Stefan Medicali last year. So that's qualifying for in Estoril, aka Lisbon Prix. We'll be giving back to you in a couple of minutes' time for the race. So
Yep,
Yep.
I will head off now. It has been a pleasure commentating for the first real time. See you for the race, where there will be another commentator with Blake. So goodbye and have a good evening, guys.
See you, Flo.
And we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the rest of this Formula E stream. And you may have noticed that the lead commentator has slightly changed here. It's not Florian. It is in fact me this time, JW97. I apologise for being late, but I am now here this time to do the race here for the Lisbon ePrix here at the Circuito do Estoril circuit in Portugal. And once again, I am joined by Blake Moore, who is still stayed in the co-commentary box, albeit this time he's commentating alongside me. So, very interesting qualifying and the third pole position for Robert Ionescu. Could he potentially convert it into the win?
Most likely, but I think I've most likely seen the most recent races. I don't think pole position is the the right key, because basically if you're on pole position, that's one piece of the puzzle. You need to finish the rest of it, and most of the drivers have it.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
So, yeah.
It is indeed, as we've actually got the stream up and we are now ready to get going, and you can now see it on your screen. So for people who have just joined us, this is what the grid looks like. We'll go 4x4 basically, like Robert Ionescu usually does, Blake, just to make it easier. So on pole position, we have Robert Ionescu for the third time this season with Marvo Koenig, who is looking to finally get some good luck in second place. Jake Tilsley will start in third, with Brandon Jackson in fourth in the second BMW.
In fifth place is the Mahindra Okochi Cheong. And sixth place is the Virgin of Motorcorsa, Ross Denholm in the Venturi, and Mohamed Razlan in the Porsche.
Then we have the two Nissans on row 5 with Rafael Demel 9th and Dominic Tuccelli, who had a mistake early on in qualifying in 10th. Michael Mocho, the home favourite, only in 11th in the Mercedes, with championship leader Santino Andreoli all the way down in 12th.
In P13 is the Jaguar of Argo Prazan. P14 is the Nia Oklima, P15 is Leighton Abiad and Alex Roster in the other version in P16.
Parachki is all the way down in 17th, a disappointing qualifying for him, with Owen Carpenter in 18th. Coach Chun Cheong starts in 19th in the Fenchoi, with Jacob Tobler in 20th, not John Tobler, as Blake called him in the commentary. And the final row of the grid?
And Main Kwan and Sana Choi, and also Joe. That's a mistake.
Yes, it is indeed. So, and as you can see, we've
got
rain for the rain. We have got rain. We've got light rain, and it looks like it could be changeable in this 32-lap race here at the Circuito do Estoril circuit. So, without further ado, let's get into this, shall we?
This is getting spicy here, lads. This is absolutely tasty, baby. And also now we get demonetized because of that. It's that learning screen.
Indeed, as we are now getting onto the race now, then, as we get ready to go here for the Circuito do Estoril circuit for the Lisbon ePrix. So here we are then on the grid. As you can see, the track is already wet indeed, and it's going to be a very interesting run into the first corner. We know that the first two corners usually provide quite a lot of mistakes in this series. Will it be the same here today? But on the left of your screens, it's Robert Ionescu. On the right of your screens, it is Marvo Koenig in the BMW, as we now have the lights that are coming onto your screen. 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 lights are on your screen. It is lights out, and away we go here for the Lisbon ePrix. And who's going to get the jump into the first corners? They all tippy-toe their way out of the grid now. Then it looks like Ionescu might have a slightly better start than Koenig now. Then it's Tilsley looks like he's trying to get alongside Koenig, but it's not going to quite work because Jackson has already got through and has got up into third place. And they're now making their way down towards the first corner. In fact, the two BMWs trying to surround Ionescu as Koenig on the inside of Ionescu into the first corner. Can Ionescu hold on? As he looks like he's just going to hold on. So Ionescu keeps the lead through into the first two turns out. But he's got two hungry BMWs right behind him now. Then as Jackson tries to find a way through on Marvo Koenig, everybody kept it clean into the first few turns. Let's see, has anybody got in down? There's a bit of contact there. Off the track now, then the home favourite in the gravel. The fans are not going to be happy with that now. Now, was that contact or was that driver error? Let's see.
Most likely a driver error because there's no run around him, or it could be Santino Andreoli. Yes, it is. Santino Andreoli just hit him. And then there's another contact behind him, and it's Kumar.
You could say, in a way, Mocho was essentially bullied at the start of the race there. But can he get it out of the gravel? It depends if he's beached it. He's not moving. I wonder if he has beached the car. And, well, in these conditions, it's very tricky to get the car out of the gravel. And this is not good news for the home favourite. Has Mocho beached it in the gravel? You get an indication if a marshal starts to appear on the track. We'll have to go back onto that a little bit later because Jackson already attacking Koenig.
Joe, I think your mic's just cut out. You're cutting out.
Oh, it was my Discord. It wasn't my microphone there. So anyway, as Coach Cheon currently in safe as Macho is still stuck in the gravel trap at the moment as they make their way down the hill as Koenig all over the back of Robert Ionescu now. Then in the fight for the lead as he tries to look to the inside. Up the hill we go. It's not going to quite work out. Ionescu had that one covered as they now make their way towards the S's now before heading towards the Parabolica Eton Senna. I've only just realised that there's actually two corners here that are named the Parabolica. I thought it was only just this corner, but it turns out there's actually two corners around here that are called the Parabolica. But anyway, as we complete the first lap of the race, it is Robert Ionescu who's going to lead the race for Marvo Koenig in second, followed by Brandon Jackson in third. Macho still beached in the gravel at the moment, as now Jackson looks to the inside of Koenig. There's actually no yellow flags where Macho is, strangely enough, but Jackson is setting the fastest lap, but hasn't got enough to get by on Koenig, because Koenig was actually sticking in Ionescu's slipstream there. But a very, very chaotic start there, Blake.
Yes, indeed. But meanwhile, Koenig is just trying to have a go at curve 3, but there's going to be no moves around it. Ionescu looks very sluggish around the outside, as well as the car behind. I think that's Broster, or that's the other Virgin car. Yeah, it's Broster. So everyone is legit just slipping, sliding around the track, just trying to keep their tires just on the track, because one mistake and yeah, you're gone. You're going into the barriers or in the gravel trap, my friends.
Indeed so, it's Koenig really trying to put Ionescu under a lot of pressure, but it's not going to quite work. Ionescu really keeping his nerve, keeping these two hungry BMWs behind, as it looks like one of the Virgins was actually trying to fend off and one of the Jaguars there, as they make their way down the hill now, then towards the left-hander. Koenig again looking to the inside, but it's not going to quite work out. Let's not forget, Blake, of course, there's a bit of contact there. Bit of contact between Kulizek and Tilsey there, but luckily no damage done there, but a little bit of an aggressive move there from Jake Tilsey. But as I was saying, before that contact happened, BMW really need a good result here, Blake, because it has been a disaster for them this season.
Yes, indeed, especially in Miami and Road America. That was just a disaster in their own right, because BMW was actually on the pace in Road Atlanta, and then they just blew it all away. And hopefully, if they could charge Robin Ionescu down the straight, actually, Jackson, Koenig and actually got really good exit out the parabolic at the end instead, and going down the inside of Robin Ionescu, there goes the German driver in German car, and he's got Robin Ionescu, and now he's up to third. And Tilsey's got past the Virgin, and Macho's got going again.
Yes, but he is a lap down. Yeah, he is a lap down. I guess the only reason for him to stay in this race is to try and get the fastest lap of the race, because you can still get points outside of the top 10. It's not like the top class, of course, so at least there is something for him to fight for. But already, his second of 2 home races down the bin straight away. But now Koenig is in the lead of the race, and now Ionescu finding himself in a BMW salvage, because he's now got the other BMW of Brandon
Discord. Discord's just cut out for Joe again. Let me just redo this. So, meanwhile, behind, there's just the battle going on between Brandon Jackson. Actually, Robbie Ionescu is actually catching, and Joe, you're back.
That was my what was going on there? Because at one point it was my Discord, and then at this occasion it was my microphone. I don't know what happened there. I was just trying to move some stuff around. But anyway, as we now look at Brandon Jackson, who's now all over the back of Robert Ionescu, going up the hill through the long swooping right-hander, as now making their way through the final few turns. And I think he's probably going to get a run on him, Blake.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get a really good exit out of the Parabolica the Eton Senna, if he actually gets a good exit, of course.
Let's see now then, as Jackson will try and ensure he can try and make it a BMW 1-2, as I nearly had my words twisted there. But anyway, Jackson now on the inside of Ionescu, going down the straight as Koenig sets another fastest lap of the race. As down the inside goes Jackson. This looks to be a very easy move from the British driver, as Ionescu and Jackson go side by side down towards the first 2 turns. Tilsey now with the fastest lap, and Jackson up into second. It is now a BMW 1-2, and on the week after they announced that they were returning to the top class.
Yeah, hopefully BMW could be successful in the top class car run by McLaren, but they still got their own divisions in Formula E. Hopefully they can do well in Formula E, especially. And meanwhile, behind, Pirachki's just still on the back of the DSG teacher, the Tita.
Pirachki is Tech Cheetah, it's pronounced. It's basically taking tech and then the animal cheetah and combine the two, basically. But Pirachki really struggling to to really make some progress at the moment, which is a little bit of a surprise. Meanwhile, Razin now all over the back of this is Wojciech Kulisek, I believe this is. He's right behind, as it is Kulisek, because I can just see it on the top left there, but wasn't able to go around the outside there. If he's not careful, Ross Denholm, I believe that is going to come up right behind him. Is Leighton Aviard in the Porsche, trying to have a look at one of the Neos there, but not going to quite work out there. That Neo being Jaswant Kumar. And, of course, Jaswant putting in, so far, some impressive performances in that Neo this season, and looking like he's trying to show off his defensive prowess again in this race. Meanwhile, looks like Prazan trying to get some traction on Denholm up the hill now then in this battle for 10. So it wasn't Denholm that was on the back of I can't remember who it was in 6th place, actually. It all flashed before a blink of an eye right there. But Ionesco, if he really wants to try and win this race, he's got to really try and keep up with the two BMWs. But I'd argue that Jackson's currently going quicker because he's just set the fastest lap of the race. And I wonder if there's going to be maybe some team wars at BMW, given that Jackson is probably closer to the championship than Koenig is.
I think most likely it's going to be Brandon Jackson, going to be some team orders down at BMW. Meanwhile, Duhamel is going to go ahead and just overtake. Casually going to overtake Mahindra, and he's done it. Duhamel is up and just getting a position. Up into
P8. That was Coach Ji Jeong. He got the place off there. As we now look at Prazan, who's still stuck in 11th place, hasn't been able to find a way free on Ross Denholm. In fact, he's lost a bit of time. As the championship leader, Andrioli, has also not been able to gain some places so far. Was that a bit of contact there, or was that just Ernest Barachki trying to look underneath Owen Carpenter? Not quite sure. I think it might have just been him looking underneath, but he's also brought Broster into that fight as well, as they make their way through the left-hander, and Motta just doing everything he can to try and see if he can salvage something out of this race after his first lap shenanigans. And meanwhile, Jackson is definitely closing in on his German teammate at the moment, and, well, it wouldn't surprise me if Koenig just lets him go very easily.
It's either that or Koenig's listen to the BMW higher-ups. But...
That's indeed. Meanwhile, we look at Ross Denholm, who is now under pressure again from Aji Prazan. He's got a little bit deep, I think, got a little bit of a lock-up, and Prazan says, thank you very much, I'm taking that place. Prazan now up into the points.
I'll see if it's the lock-up there for Ross Denholm. So, I think Ross Denholm trying to take a wide line, and yeah, he just sped off. He just drifted off like a boat. And Ross Denholm, you're in there.
Indeed so, as sorry if you can hear dog commentator in the background again. So that's that. Seems to be a common meme with my commentary. But anyway, it's meanwhile Kulisek now. Yeah, indeed. Jackson with another fast lap, but Kulisek is in the pressure now because it seems that unseen by the cameras, Razan had actually passed him for 5th, and now it's Decelli's turn to try and get into 6th position. He's now on the inside of Wojciech Kulisek going down straight. Decelli, of course, who won last time out in Portimao, looking to have another good result here. And Estoril, Danny, inside he goes, and he gets up into 6th position. So Decelli putting on another impressive performance after his victory in Portimao a couple of weeks ago.
Nice, that's pretty good performance by Decelli in the Nissan. But meanwhile, at the front, Brandon Jackson's still slowly gaining a Koenig. So it's either going to be team orders or it's going to be a massive fight between those two drivers.
Prazan, meanwhile, has got up into 9th. He's passed Coach Ji Jeong for 9th for that position. So now he's on 2 championship points. Is the Indonesian driver. As now Jackson really close now to the back of the gearbox of Marvo Koenig. And I wonder if Robert Ionescu behind will want to sense an opportunity in case these two slip up in any way, shape or form.
And also need to look behind because there's Mia Rapid, the Jaguar approaching of Jake Tillersley, and also I'm meeting Pisa.
Well, try not to talk too much then. But anyway, as now we go up the hill now then towards Tanque, I think this is pronounced. I might have butchered that pronunciation. Through the S's, and now they'll soon be approaching the Parabolica Ayrton Senna now, which is this right-hander we're coming up to. Around the right-hander now. Will Jackson get a run on Koenig, or will he stay behind him for the time being? Let's see as they come out of the Parabolica now then, the second Parabolica on the circuit, and I don't think he's close enough on this occasion, so I think he's going to hang back for the moment. He is in the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough to mount an attack at this point, as the gap between Tilsley and Ionescu still 1.5 seconds. He's only gained chunks on that, as meanwhile, look at this train of cars that is forming behind Coach Ji Jeong at the moment, as Andrioli, unseen by the cameras, has actually finally passed Denholm for P11, and now he wants to get himself into the points of the championship championship leader now gets right into the gearbox of Coach Cheong as he now looks to the inside. Side by side, go to pair of them down into the first corner. Meanwhile, in the background, you see Kumar now attacking Denholm for 12th place. But I think Andrioli has got the move easily done on Coach Cheong into the first corner. And Andrioli gets up into the points and up into 10th position. The Kumar has now taken 12th place off of Denholm there as Carpenter and Aviard there are having a little bit of a ding-dong for 14th. But now the championship leader is finally into the points, Blake.
That's good for Andrioli, but he needs to pull away from the strain if he wants to catch up. But meanwhile, it's still a bit red versus blue. It's still a BMW 1-2.
Yes, it is indeed, and they've managed to pull just over 3 seconds. In fact, it was over 3 seconds, but I think it's now actually dipped to 2.6 seconds. So Ionescu starting to close that gap back down just a little bit, but I wonder if it's going like a little bit of a pinball effect. It's going up, down, up, down, up, down at the moment. I'm not really sure. But anyway, Jackson, I think it's safe to say he is a lot closer now to Koenig than he was previously. The gap down to 0.2, and this is probably his best chance he's got to pass his teammate down the pit straight now. And as they make their way through the final turn and onto the pit straight now, then we will go. Will Jackson grab the lead off his teammate Marvo Koenig down the straight as he now gets into the slipstream of his teammate? He's going to look to the inside. This should be an easy move if all things go according to plan. Jackson setting another fastest lap of 1:30.450 as he just breezes past Koenig, and into the lead of the race goes Brandon Jackson, and he really needs to get back in this because he has had quite a run of poor races recently, and he really needs this if he wants to get back in the championship fight.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, at the back, that's Leighton Aviard trying to chase down Kumar, but behind him is the teacher of Ian Carpenter, and it's almost like three cars into one corner. And I also like to say, be careful, lads, because otherwise we don't have a massive crash around here. Leighton Aviard trying to go down the inside, very close to Kumar. Keep it tidy, lad. Boy, Leighton Aviard is actually just on the move. That's a pretty good move by Leighton Aviard. Almost touching wheels there.
Contact there between Carpenter and Broster there as everyone was pretty much backed up a little bit going into turn 3 there, but luckily no harm done. And Paratsky, what a disappointing race he's having, all the way down in 17th. That's not very good for him at the moment as Tilsley continues to close the gap on Ionescu as now Razin, in fact, has just been overtaken on seen by the cameras by Gicelli. So Gicelli now up into 5th position, but Razan trying to get back into him now then in the fight for 5th position. So unseen by the cameras, Gicelli now up into 5th place. He's really come on form since his victory. But hang on a minute, what's going on here between the two BMWs? Koenig has not given up yet on Jackson. Is there no team orders at this team or something?
Aye.
Indeed so. Aye, indeed. As now they come down the straight now. Then is Koenig going to retake the lead from his teammate down the pit straight now? Then he's in the slipstream of Jackson now. Then as it comes down towards the first corner on lap 9 of 32 now. Then in this race as they go side by side into the first corner. I don't think Koenig's hasn't got enough of an overlap to get him into that first corner. And as a result, Jackson is just going to hang it around the outside and keep hold of the lead at this point in time. But if they keep battling, Ionescu and even Tilsley, who's right on the back of him, could slowly start to gain on the pair of them.
Indeed so, but Tilsley is still going to try to find a slipstream. But meanwhile, at the back, there is Broster's gonna swoop down the inside of Kumar. I think from there was an overtake by Ian Carpenter, and there's Broster's just going down the inside. That's a textbook move by the Virgin driver. I think. There was a battle between Denholm and Eon there that it wasn't seen on the cameras, but meanwhile, these two guys are just legit just having a civil war of their own. What is going on here?
Indeed so, and well, who really knows what's going on down here at the BMW camp? But yeah, I really don't know what the plan is going on here. It's Koenig looks like he's got better traction compared to Jackson coming out of the corner there, but Jackson just having enough to stay in front, going around the long swooping right-hander. Of course, for anybody wondering, this is the up-to-date version of Estoril that we have on Grand Prix 4. The modern-day version of Estoril doesn't exist, so there isn't that that chicane that was put in after the tragic death of Roland Ratzenberger in Ayrton Senna. So this is the latest version of Estoril. We will have, arguably, a lot of people say this is the best version of Estoril, so I don't think people are really complaining that much. So anyway, it looks like Koenig has now actually dropped off a little bit coming out of that final turn, so he's not close enough to try and mount an attack on Jackson into that first corner. So Jackson able to just keep a little bit of a gap at this point in time. Meanwhile, Aviard had tried to have a little go there at one of the mid-hinders there. I think that was Kochi Cheong he was trying to have a go at, but it's now backed him into the path of Alex Broster and all those cars that are just behind him at this point in time. So I wonder if Avion may lose a place. Although having said that, he's starting to get back in the slipstream of Kochi Cheong just in front, so he might still be able to gain a place. He's right in the slipstream now, Cheong. He's going to go to the inside. Is Avion going to grab 12th place off Kochi Cheong now, then down the pit straight now, then side by side goes the Porsche driver on the inside of the Mahindra driver into the first corner. It should be an easy move, and it is. Up into 12th place it goes as Carpenter just in the background takes 15th away from Just Want Kumar there. So still lots of battles going on throughout the field, and meanwhile the two BMWs still keeping each other honest at this point, but they're still keeping that gap consistent between themselves and Ionescu at this point in time, despite this little battling that's going on, Blake.
Yeah, but meanwhile, there's Jake Tilsley and the Jaguar trying to have a go at Ionescu, but that's not definite overtake spot there, mate. So you have to wait until the first corner, mate. So Jake Tilsley's really on the back of Robert Ionescu. I think Jake Tilsley has some really good pace to extract onto Robert Ionescu there. Here.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, let's have a look at what the BMWs are doing. Koenig's still right behind Jackson at this point, but will he have enough traction to try and attack him down the straight again? And can't really tell from that distance. I'm not 100% sure, but meanwhile in the background, in fact, Koenig, thanks to the slipstream of Jackson, Sessified Slab, and in fact, he is actually going to attack for the lead again as he's going down the inside of Jackson into the first corner, but again, Jackson just able to hang in around the outside and hold on to the lead. Meanwhile, in the background, is Tilsley going to get the move done on Ionescu? No, Ionescu's just going to hold on, although having said that, Tilsley trying to stick with him into turn 2, but Ionescu shuts the door there and holds on to that third place. So because of that, as meanwhile we've got some pit action as Prazan's in with a problem. It's a loose wheel for Aji Prazan, so a mechanical issue there for Aji Prazan, and more bad luck for the Jaguar team. And he was running in the points, but now it's gone all the way down in the bin, Blake.
Yep. Jaguar's definitely got the worst look of any team. The second worst look of any team this season. Well, that award goes to the BMW, so I'm not picking favourites here, but still, Kochi Cheong is still on the back of Ian Carpenter. There's just this massive train forming, and Carpenter just taking the lead here, and Koenig is still on the back of. They're still keeping consistent gaps to the car in front, which is Brandon Jackson.
I'm not sure whether Prazan may have changed his strategy or not, because I'm not sure if he's done enough to try and get to the end of the race. The answer to that is no. So Prazan will have to stop again. So it hasn't reached the point off yet where you would be able to get away with it if he had a problem. So unfortunately, Prazan is going to have to pit again towards the end of the race. So his race, really, like with Mocho's, already down in the bin. Meanwhile, back to this BMW fight for the lead of the race between Jackson and Koenig now then, as the gap is 4.5 seconds now between themselves and third place man Robert Ionescu, who's got Jake Tilsley breathing down his neck. Koenig on this occasion not close enough to get onto Jackson on this occasion, so he's going to stick behind. But Tilsley is close to Ionescu meanwhile. Is he going to grab third place from the Romanian drivers that go side by side down towards the first corner? I'm not quite sure if Tilsley's got the overlap yet, and no, he hasn't. And as a result, Ionescu very easily able to shut the door through into turn 1 yet again and keep all of that third place off of Jake Tilsley, as the two BMWs again keeping each other honest at this point in time. And we're still quite a few laps, we're still quite a way away yet from the mandatory pit stops. They should be coming around about lap 20 or so is when we should be seeing these mandatory pit stops go into effect. So quite late on in this race. So bit of interesting stuff going on. Meanwhile, towards the back of the field now, then we could see that that Kumar trying to have an attack on Kochi Cheong, as meanwhile behind Kwan is having a go at I think that's Parachki. In fact, he's really been struggling in this race, but Kumar gets by on Kochi Cheong there, but Parachki able to hold on from Kwan at this point in time, as they all sprint their way through turn 2. In fact, Prazan, despite that pit stop, not far away from that lot, so he could easily close up to them very quickly, given that how much they've really been backed up in this race, it's fair to say. Andrew Early, meanwhile, the championship leader over to 8th, is now, it looks like Jackson starting to pull a gap now to Koenig.
And it could be the same for Robert Ionescu. He's now pulling a gap to Jake Tilsley. So, looks like the Vassals are dying down at the front, but meanwhile, Broster's trying to get past the Ross Denholm at the moment.
Still trying his best to get by on him at the moment. This will be the fight for the final points place, because Denholm is currently holding on to that 10th position. Of course, he assumed that points place as a result of Prazan's loose wheel, so he found himself back in the points, but it looks like Broster wants to get that points place for himself, as Parachki now all over the back of Kochi Cheong now then. And I thought for a minute they got a little bit too close for comfort there, but luckily no harm done. And yeah, it does look like it is starting to stretch out now between the two BMWs and between Ionescu and Tilsley at this point in time. So maybe all four of them just starting to calm down just a little bit and maybe try and resume their battles after the mandatory pit stops have come to an end. As meanwhile, we look back to this battle for 15th place now then, as Prix doing everything he can to get by on Kochi Cheong now then, as they make their way around the parabolic at Ayrton Senna now then. Down the straight we go. Prix going to get the move done. It's been a woeful race for the Macedonian driver so far in this race, but now Prix on the inside of Kochi Cheong now then, as they come down the pit straight now, they're heading down towards the first two turns on the racetrack. Is Prix going to get the move done? As meanwhile, unseen by the cameras, Broster has got into the points. He's passed Denholm, and up into 10th place goes Alex Broster, as Prix has got the move done on Kochi Cheong now then for that place. And Prazan is quickly gaining on them thanks to them fresher tyres he's got on. As Coach on Cheong, the other Cheong brother, trying to look to the inside of Sona Choi now then in the battle for 19th, but Choi going to hold on out of the exit of turn 3 there. And now look, you can just see in the background, Prazan has now started to close up. You could say technically in a way Mocho has, but let's not forget he's a lap down after his lap 1 collision he had, which saw him beached in the gravel for the entirety of a lap. And I was talking about earlier that Ionescu was starting to stretch it a bit, but it looks like Tilsley has now started to gain back onto the Romanian and might try and have a go at him again down into the first corner. He's right in the slipstream now then of Ionescu coming down the pit straight now then. He's in the slipstream of the Audi driver now then. He's going to try and look to the inside, which he does now then. So Tilsley on the inside now then of Robert Ionescu. Will he have enough of an overlap this time to get the move done on the Romanian driver? And the answer to that is again no. Ionescu just having enough straight line speed compared to Tilsley to stay in front as a result. He's clearly set that car up very well in the straight line speeds, and he's able to stay in front of Tilsley as a result. But yet Broster up into 10th, and now Aviard looking to attack Denholm for 11th place, as Denholm now losing time to the Virgin Racing car in front.
Yes, indeed. Leighton Aviard is going to have his next target, which is Ross Denholm, and he's hopefully. I think Leighton Aviard's got the overlap on the top twin into turn 1. Here goes Leighton Aviard down the inside. It's up into 11th place. So yeah, you're right. Looks like Tilsley needs a little bit more of an overlap he wants to overtake, and Esperazzi just got past Kumar.
As indeed, that's P14 for Prix, so maybe now Prix is starting to get a little bit of a move on to what has been a very tricky start for him indeed in this race. It's off goes Aviard off the track into turn 3, and that looks like that's either a driver error or it looks like a Denholm has dived him up the inside. And in fact, it's because Aviard ran wide and Denholm pretty much got caught off guard a little bit there. So he basically just tapped him off the track there, and Aviard having to wait for everybody to go by. Hopefully, he hasn't beached it in the same manner as Mocho. Let's see. He's having to wait for all these cars to go by. Mocho, he's got to wait for. Let's see if he moves now, and he does indeed. So unlike Mocho, who was beached quite deeply in the gravel earlier, he is able to get it going again, and I think that will be deemed as a racing incident as a result of that. So that's that. Is now Tilsley now coming around the final corner again, trying to attack Ionescu for 3rd place. He's trying to get enough of a drive out the corner. Jackson takes the fastest lap away from Koenig again, as he's now set the fastest lap of the race. Is now Tilsley looking to the inside of Robert Ionescu as they come down the hill towards the first 2 corners now. They're on the track, looking to the inside, but again Ionescu just able to hang it around the outside and hold on to that 3rd position.
And yeah, again, and Kwan is just really close to the to Kumar in front, and
just want to bring up, Blake, there looks to be a little bit of a dry line starting to emerge. There was a little bit of a dry line coming up the hill there, so maybe the track is starting to dry up just a little bit. So maybe that could be something to keep a note of when we get to the mandatory pit stop stages.
And hopefully everyone does not screw up the strategy. And yeah, looks like there's some dry lines starting to appear on the track now. I mean, not as much around the parabolica, but when we get to the hill, it's almost dry. Yeah.
You see it here, look, it's starting to dry up there, look. Meanwhile, unseen by the cameras, just so there we go, yellow flag, sorry to interrupt you. There is a yellow flag down at turn 1, first into turn 1.
It's Kumar!
Kumar has gone off the track. We've gone quite a distance without somebody going off the track, and it seems like he's just aquaplaned onto the outside there, and it's spared him round, and he's got damage as a result, so he's going to have to come back into the pits. His rear wings have been damaged as a result, so it's going to have to be a trip to the pits for Kumar, providing he can get it out of the gravel trap. But that is a bit of a silly error there, and a bit of a rookie error for just one Kumar.
Yeah, and also it proves that the track is drying, that everyone is actually starting to have aquaplaning.
Indeed so, but can just want Kumar get it out of the gravel track? There's going to be a question. As the yellow flags are actually gone, surprisingly, even though Kumar's car is still there. Has he been able to get it moving? I'm trying to have a look on the mini map. He has got it going again, so yes, he has got it out of the gravel track just in time before the leaders start coming on. In fact, Jackson is starting to still stretch that advantage between Sam and Koenig. Meanwhile, back to the battle for third place now, then between Ionescu and Tilsley. There is a dry line starting to emerge as well a little bit down the pit straight there, so it is starting to, this dryness is starting to spread around the track, it's fair to say, if that's the right terminology. Right, let's trade the race, and Carpenter a little bit wide. He's caught the gravel a little bit there, but luckily did not get caught by the gravel there, and he's lucky to get away with that one, Blake.
Yeah, Ian Carpenter is really close to like loads of accidents in the space of like one lap. He witnessed Kumar spinning off and almost went off himself. So Carpenter is almost indeed incident prone.
Indeed so, as we now look at that battle for third, still continuing, Tilsley still keeping Ionescu honest at this point. The gap 1.9 seconds now between Jackson and Koenig, so it's nearly got up to 2 seconds as Ionescu is a further 7 seconds back from the two BMWs. As you can see, the dry line is starting to emerge now on that pit straight. Paratsky's past Carpenter into the first corner. We've got a pit call for Ian Carpenter, so now the mandatory pit stops are starting this lap, Blake.
Yes, indeed. This couldn't change as well. Kumar is coming in, but he has to change because of his damage. But I think Carpenter could change the entire course, and yeah, everyone's starting to pit now because there's going to be a dry line.
Jackson's also got an indication as well. In fact, I think he's only just got it, so I wonder if these are impromptu. I was just wondering that these are impromptu stops, so that means it is transition time now. So it is time for potentially the dry tyres. So at the halfway point of the race.
Oh my goodness me! Look at that. There's so many mechanics out.
Because they realise it's now the transitional period of the race now. Then is Ionescu also coming in? He is. Ionescu's also got the call to come in. Of course, Koenig has had to stay out because otherwise he would have double stacked behind Jackson. So he's got to stay out for an extra lap, and that could cost the BMW Dia if they want a 1-2 finish. It's a 5.3 second stop for Brandon Jackson. Or is he having to wait for Kumar? He's having to wait for Kumar here. He's been held up a little bit as a result, so that's not going to do him any good. But luckily, he had enough of it. Will he have? Well, actually, I don't really know who's going to be in the lead because, of course, Koenig has had to stay out as a result of not having to double stack. Ionescu, no such issues for him. No hold-ups for the remaining driver. Jackson comes out in 4th place just behind Mohamed Razin. He's had to wait. As Kumar has had to wait as well. Well, he did have to wait. He thought he left enough of a gap for Ionescu, but it turns out he didn't, and he's been let go there by Ionescu. So a lot of traffic problems in the pit lane, Blake.
Yes, indeed. I think Ionescu will give Kumar the finger because Kumar basically almost ruined Rob's race. And meanwhile, at Audi, they're pissing and Santino Andreoli, and hopefully this will not cause any more traffic. Am I going to jinx it? It's still London traffic.
I was just going to bring up as well, he had 12-second stop there. That's because Audi have decided, unlike BMW, to actually double stack their drivers. So Andreoli did have to wait for a little bit as a result before he got serviced there. As Bros is really getting affected by the traffic there, and I think he's gonna have to go as a result. Yeah, he gets in front of Choi there. Or does he? No, he's not gone yet, but now he has. A bit of confusion there between Brewster and Choi, it's fair to say. And also with Motra as well, is also coming to the pits as well. So lots of confusion here. And it is quite a tight pit lane here, Blake. It's fair to say. Koenig is, as expected, coming into the pits as lap. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tilsley gets the call as well.
Yeah, yes, indeed. This is why Estoril doesn't end up on the F1 calendar anymore, because the pit lane is way too tight. But meanwhile, here comes our leader, Koenig, just going into the pits now.
Koenig is you do have to wonder how much time he's lost from staying out on track a little bit later on. But I want to point out as well, is it actually starting to rain again? Oddly enough, is the conditions changing again? Because
it's raining. It's raining.
It looks like it is raining again because there's spots appearing on Marvo Koenig's camera there. So
what is going on? This is just Hockey Night 2019 levels of confusion.
Hold-ups for Koenig. No, he's finished his pit stop. Tilsley, as expected, is in. I wonder if Razin is also going to come in as well in the Porsche. He does. So the top three are in. But can Koenig get out in front of Jackson? That's going to be the question that I want to know about. And I think he has done. He has. So that hold-up that Jackson has had has cost him the lead here. And Koenig is way out in front.
Yeah, that's a strategical masterclass from Koenig compared to Brandon Jackson. Brandon Jackson got held up, and yeah, that really cost him loads of seconds. Meanwhile, wait, why is Ionescu going slowly?
Because of the pit lane entrance. It was because he got held up a bit by the pit entrance, and that might allow Dicelli to get by on Ionescu as a result. We saw this in qualifying as well, you may remember, and it looks like he's affected Ionescu. Is Dicelli going to take full advantage of this? He's going to go to the inside, and he does do. So up into fourth place goes Dicelli, and Ionescu is definitely not going to be a happy driver after that one.
Yeah, I will say this again. I've said this in Miami, I'll say it again. Dicelli is absolutely flying at the moment.
Indeed, so indeed. Kwan is in the pits with Prazan looking to the inside of Andrioli in the right place. And has he got the move done into turn 2? He's going to stick to the inside. Of course, he had to make an impromptu stop earlier on. And, well, I don't know if he changed to the dry tyres or not, but clearly he's going as quick as the guys around him. So, in a way, if he is on the dries...
there is a glitch. There's a tyre glitch on Andrioli's car. Look at it.
There is. So, I think you just have to make a little quick pause there, Yui, for that tyre glitch. You're going to have to make a little pause and go back to the point where you went to... Now, there you go. Let's fix the problem. You just have to...
There we go.
That's all you have to do on Grand Prix 4. You just have to go into the replay and it fixes the issue. So, no dramas there. So, anyway, back to the action as you now look at... I think everybody has now done their impromptu stop. So, I think in a way, Prazan's loose wheel, Blake, has kind of helped him in a way.
True.
Meanwhile...
Jackson's actually set the fastest lap, so Jackson could be on the back of Koenig again in a couple of laps' time.
Could do indeed. He is going very quick, but I think we should expect lap times to tumble a little bit more as the track continues to dry out. As meanwhile, Ionescu's trying to get back at Ticelli, probably seeing red in his eyes, and he's now trying to get back at Ticelli for fourth position after that little pit entrance thing, as he's now looking to the inside of the Italian. Is Ionescu going to retake fourth place over Dicelli? No, because he just didn't have enough overlap there to get by on Dicelli as a result. He needs to get by quickly. As Andrioli's now been affected by the pit entrance there, as Coach Chun Cheong has now come into the pits. He left it quite late to come into the pits there, and Andrioli, as a result, has lost the place to Prazan, and he's now up into 8th position. So the Audi's really getting affected by that pit entrance today.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I don't think Audi will. Whoever's in charge of Audi in this race would most likely want to punch a TV or two after that.
Indeed, so they're not going to be happy people, that's for sure. As Ionescu now trying his best to get back by on Dominic Dicelli, but Dicelli keeping it on the inside. We've got a yellow flag. We've got a yellow flag down the right. Jackson!
Jackson! No!
Once again, Brandon Jackson as his powertrain has blown up in smoke, and yet again, BMW's reliability is yet again come under question.
Yeah, this is actually really concerning for McLaren as well, because even though BMW should be powering McLaren next year, McLaren will be thinking, have we made the right deal?
Well, it depends really who you ask, because they seem to be doing all right in World Champ Car, but it seems with the electrical equipment, which some parts of it do go onto an F1 car, there may be some question marks on that. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue by the time McLaren have them in 2022, of course. As meanwhile, Jamel and Ionescu are trying to let the pack. In fact, it's because Kumar's got a problem. Kumar has got a problem. You can see it on the indicator. He's got the red on the indicator, and Kumar has got a problem in the Neo now, and he's going to have to come into the pits, I think.
No, he hasn't.
Because he hasn't got the pit indicator, so it's 2-terminal for Jaswant Kumar, so he has got a mechanical failure. What is the issue? I'm not 100% sure. I guess I'll have a look when he pulls off in a little bit. In fact, no, we're going to have a look now, and it's an engine problem. It's an engine problem for Jaswant Kumar, so once again, another reliability issue. In fact, I think you could just about see the smoke there, look, Blake.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can, and see it with the thick of the smoke. I mean, the fog of the spray. So, Jesus. But there's so many. Like, I can't even space of 2 laps. There's 2 cars already got DNF because of the mechanical problem. In the space of 2 laps.
And pretty soon Kumo will have to pull off. Meanwhile, the two DS cheaters are fighting for 11th position. There was also a battle going on that was happening just behind them there as well. As we run on board with Koenig, who's now the only soul. Andrioli's got a problem! The championship leader's got a problem! He's out of the race! Santino Andrioli is going to be out of the race! Is that another engine problem?
I jinxed it! I jinxed it! Oh no, there's 3 problems in a space of 2 laps! My God, what is going on with Formula E's reliability right here? Oh, what is going on?
Set the fastest lap, but Andrioli, the championship leader, is out of the race as Kumo has finally pulled off the track. There he is. I wonder if Andrioli's going to join him at that same place where Brandon Jackson pulled off. It could become a bit of a car park. No, he's going to go a little bit further, but the championship leader is out, and this has licked the lips of many rivals behind him.
Yep, and let me have a look at the championship standings. So at the moment, Ennis Perutsky's out. Ennis Perutsky. So Robert Ionescu and Decelli will absolutely benefit from this result if they can keep continuing, of course. Well, I mean, let's hope they don't. We hope they don't get an engine failure. So at the moment, it's good for both of them.
And of course, if you didn't know, it is 2 terminal because he hasn't got the pit indicator on his def panel. So this is going to be race over, and he'll soon be pulling off the track quite soon. I don't know where he's going to be pulling off. Hopefully in a safe place as he makes his way through turn 2. He's actually going quite some distance, in fact. I wonder if he's going to pull off here. In fact, I think, is it broke down here? Yes, it has. It's pulled off here. So Andrioli is out of the race, and this could have huge championship implications because he did have quite a comfortable lead at the top of the championship, but I'd imagine that's going to get sliced after this race.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Ionescu and Sheldon will be absolutely happy about that. Whilst meanwhile, Andrioli will be absolutely fuming.
Will be indeed, because he's going to lose quite a lot of time to his rivals in the championship. I'm just going to quickly check the Formula E standings just to get some clarity of what could be happening in the championship as a result of Andrioli's retirement. Of course, Perutsky's currently out of the points at the moment, I think. Is he? I think he is currently out of the points. So he's not. So at the moment, he's not gaining anything from Andrioli. Motro's obviously out of the points. He'll be able to get a fastest lap. Ionescu, I think, Ionescu and Decelli are the only people in the top 5 who could gain something out of this, because Jackson's obviously out of the race as well for the 4th consecutive race. So Ionescu, of course, got that pole position. So
there's another yellow flag.
Yellow flag on the circuit. No, that's Andrioli. That is Andrioli.
Oh, okay, that was my mistake.
You kind of jumped the gun there a little bit. As meanwhile, as the 2 DS cheaters are now fighting for what is now a final points place. This is Kwan now trying to have a look on the inside of Owen Carpenter, but again, Carpenter fending off on the inside. Tobler trying to have a go at Perutsky, who's trying his best to get into the points. So only Ionescu and Decelli at the moment are going to be gaining points out of it at the moment, but they're still going to be quite behind if it was to stay like this, because I think yes, indeed. And, well, I still think he is going to get a comfortable gap still, is Andrioli, in the championship. Because going into this race, let's not forget, Andrioli had, if I do the maths, he had a 29-point lead over Perutsky going into this race. So, Ionescu will take 14 points out of him at the moment because, of course, he obviously got pole position, let's not forget. So he will end up on 69 points by the end of it, which will put him 18 points behind Andrioli. And then you've got Decelli, who's currently running in 3rd. He will be on 68 points if it were to remain like this. So that will put him 19 points behind as well. So he'd be on the same number of points as Ennis Perutsky, and he would actually get ahead of Perutsky because, of course, Decelli has had a victory this season, whereas Perutsky hasn't. So, yeah, I think he'll still have quite a comfortable gap, but it'll now be under a race victory as opposed to being over a race victory like it was coming into this week, Blake.
Indeed so. Indeed so.
That's all he has to say on that. But anyway, Decelli's starting to create a bit of a gap now between himself and Ionescu as they make their way through towards the left-hander there. Currently holding on to that podium place at this point in time. and looking to see if he can make it 2 podium finishes in a row, or was it 3 podium finishes? No, it's 2 podium finishes. His other podium came at the Atlanta Prix, which was a few races ago. As meanwhile, Kwan still can't find a way through on Carpenter at this point in time. And I also want to point out as well, it's not only Ionescu who's close to the back of Ticelli. They've also got Mohamed Razin who's starting to close up as well. So Razin could maybe have a shout at a possible podium here in the Porsche.
Oh Christ, sorry. I need to take something.
Okay, as Parachki now, then he can sense there are points there up for grabs, but this Andreoli's problem couldn't have come at a worse time for Parachki, because he would have hoped he would have been a little bit higher up in the field for him to have a mechanical failure, but he's still outside the points and still in this gaggle of cars at the moment and still stuck behind the 2 DS cheaters who are squabbling for that final points place at the moment. Carpenter trying to create a gap to Kwan at the moment, but Parachki actually starting to come towards the gearbox now of Kwan at this point as they now make their way through into the final corner now then, as they'll soon be going onto the pit straight quite soon. Here is Tilsley looking quite comfortable in second place, looking very lonely as Koenig has got that very huge 17-second lead out in front at this point in time. And Koenig obviously has had a tricky season so far, and he'll be hoping to try and see if he can have a good race here. Can hold on to this at the moment. Meanwhile, Tobler and Coach Onchion are fighting at the moment. Parachki was trying to look around the outside of Kwan there. Tobler still in front of Coach Onchion at this point in time in their fight for 13th position. Mocho still a lap down. He's trying everything he can to try and see if he can get the fastest lap points, to try and see if he can gain something in this fight as a result of Andreoli's mechanical failure. But anyway, as this battle for the final points place is still raging on, as Kwan having to hold up everybody else, maybe he's now decided he wants to try and protect Carpenter if he can now, then to try and see if they can gain a point for DS Cheetah. And in fact, you can see that Marvo Koenig is actually not far away from those guys, so these guys could be lapped very soon.
Yep.
And now they come out of the corner now, then using as much of the curb on the outside as possible. Parachki trying everything he can to get by on Nguyen Minh Quan at the moment. And I'm hearing an echo on my end there. I'm not sure it's because you've got the stream on there, Blake. Maybe you should mute it if I were you. But anyway, for some reason I kept hearing a bit of an echo. But anyway, Prazan's in the pits meanwhile. So maybe he didn't have enough fuel to go to the end. Because of course, of course not. Because he obviously didn't have enough to go to the end thanks to his loose wheel problem. So he's going to drop a few places. But by how many places, I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, the 2 DS cheaters still close together down the straight. Are these two going to get by on Prazan? The answer to that is no. Prazan is going to rejoin in 9th. So he's still in the points in 9th position. I wonder how much he can gain with the fresher tyres. That could be interesting. Meanwhile, Kwan on the inside of Carpenter. Can he finally get the move done on his Irish teammate? As Carpenter goes a bit wide, is Kwan going to get him into turn 2? And the answer to that is yes. Kwan finally gets a move done and he's up into 10th position. He's now into the points. Parachki thought about this contact.
Oh, no!
Parachki just about keeping it away from the gravel, but he's lost 2 places as a result of that bump and run from Tobler. And Coach Onchion said, "Thank you very much. I'll take the pair of you there." That has not worked out well for either of them.
Yes, indeed. Parachki will be absolutely. I don't know how to describe him. He either just be. No, I don't think he will be either. He'll just not be happy at all because he has some chance to get some at least some points, but then now he's just got bumped by another driver, which is not his fault, by the way.
Is coming out here at Estoril, and no, it's not a glitch, Coach Chion. It's not a glitch with Mocho's timing thing. He is actually a lap down because he obviously got beached on the first lap, and it took him a lap to get out of the gravel trap. So his race was effectively done after that, and now he's just trying to get the fastest lap points if he can to try and salvage something out of this race as we continue to ride on board with Jake Tilsley in the Jaguar now. Then, as he's just trying to bring the car home in second position as he's got a 9-second lead over Dominic Cicelli. He's got both Robert Ionescu and Mohamed Razin right behind at the moment. There is Ticelli at the moment, and the gap has still remained at 0.9 seconds, so that would suggest that both Ionescu and Ticelli are lapping the same sort of pace as each other, and the same could be said for Razan, because he's not really gained, but he's not lose time on them either, so those three probably lapping the same sort of pace. Meanwhile, we're looking now at, this is Jacob Tobler, who's on the inside of Coach Chi, and there's meanwhile Carpenter trying to get that final points place back off of Nguyen Minh Quan. The TS Cheetahs still fighting, but Quan just going to hang it around the outside and hold on to that 10th place, as meanwhile Tobler trying to get on the inside of Coach Coach Untitled for 12th there, but he's not going to work out. Prachki trying to get back into 13th if he can. Not going to quite work out. He's going to hang back for the moment as they make their way through into turn 3 now then, as actually trying his best to get underneath them as best as possible now then, as Tilsley just rounds the final turn himself, as Koenig has already started lap 27 of 32. 6 laps to go here at the Lisbon ePrix here at the Circuito do Estoril circuit, the second of 2 races here at Portugal, and of course, the next race for these guys will be at Aragon, which will take place, if I bring up the schedule, will actually be next week, of course, because, of course, this is a double weekend for Formula E and World Champ Car, so basically to ensure that both of them finish before the end of the season, really. That's why they're both on at the same week, because, of course, we have that wee break. As meanwhile, Kwan goes wide into the right-hander. Is Carpenter going to assume back 10th place? He's trying to have a go, but Kwan just has enough drive to stay in front, and it's brought Coach Cheong quite close now to the back of Carpenter as they now make their way through the final few turns on the racetrack now. Then could Coach Cheong maybe try and get the move done on Carpenter, as Parachki trying his best to get into the points as best as possible. He's still stuck behind Jacob Tobler at this point through the final turn. Onto the pit straight to go. 0.7 seconds, meanwhile, is now the gap between Ticelli and Ionescu in the fight for third position. 1.6 between Ionescu and Razin. Meanwhile, we now look at Coach Untitled, and he's now on the inside of Owen Carpenter. Is he going to grab 11th place from the Irish driver as the Malaysian goes on the inside? Is he going to get the move done as they go side by side through turn 1? Carpenter tries to hang around the side. It's now turned to the inside into turn 2, and that's a position gain there for Coach Untitled. So up into 11th place goes the Malaysian driver, as Tobler and Parachki were trying to take full advantage, but it's not going to quite work out. But up into 11th place goes Coach Untitled, and he's now only just 1 place away from the points. 5 laps to go for race leader Marvo Koenig. 0.5 seconds now, the gap between Ticelli and Ionescu. I think Ionescu could be right behind Ticelli here as we're riding on board with him at the moment as the fight for third continues. There he is, Ionescu on the back of Ticelli. The fight for third is back on now between the pair of them as they make their way down the pit straight now. Then is Ionescu going to get enough of a run on Ticelli down the straight now? And he's in the slipstream of the Italian. He's going to look to the inside. Is Ionescu going to get that final podium place of Ticelli into the first corner? No, not quite. Ticelli shuts the door on him there into the first corner, a bit like what Ionescu did earlier on with Tilsley, and now it's his turn to fill the gun. Track is apparently getting wet again, it seems, and these guys are on the dry tyres. There are still some dry lines about, but it seems that the track, according to Yuri, is getting wet again, but it's already too late to change onto the wet tyres. So, we could have quite an interesting ending here, Blake.
Yes, indeed. And Ticelli is doing some doing some defending that Robert Ionescu did, because Robert Ionescu is way too late into the slipstream. So, I mean, late in the slipstream, yeah. He's gone way too late in the slipstream, and it can be easily defended off by Ticelli. So, hopefully these last couple of laps, Ticelli can hold on to third place, but Robert Ionescu is currently just breathing down his neck.
Let's not forget the Nissan is only a Group 2 car. Ionescu, of course, is in a Group 1 car. And you would imagine that Ionescu will try and breeze past him very quickly. But we know how good Ticelli has been this season in that Group 2 car. And he's definitely proven it again today here at Estoril. 4 laps to go for race leader Marvo Koenig, as Ionescu trying everything he can to get that podium place of Ticelli. But if they're not careful, they battle too hard. Mohamed Razan, who's not that far behind, could gain onto the pair of them here. As now round the final turn of Parabolica Ayrton Senna into the pit straight we go. Is Ionescu going to get Ticelli this time by? He's going to go to the inside. He's pulled out a lot earlier than he did last time by. He's on the inside of Ticelli. Has he got enough of an overlap to get ahead of the Italian? I think he might do, in fact. Down the inside goes Ionescu, and at long last, he's got the move done. Ionescu up into third place and back onto the podium.
Yes, that was good move by Ionescu, and also that will help him in the championship as well, don't forget.
Indeed so, especially given they also get 3 bonus points for pole position as well. So that would also help that out, his cause as well, and to trying to get a hold of his teammate Santino Andreoli and get him back in the title fight. Meanwhile, we're now looking at, this is Aji Prazan, who's now on the inside of Alex Broster in the fight for 8th position. Prazan on the inside of the Virgin Racing car. We knew that the fresher tyres could work out for Prazan. He's on the inside, and this should be an easy move, and it is. Up into 8th place goes Aji Prazan in the Jaguar, and that's that really. Is meanwhile, Parachki now trying to look onto the inside of Jacob Tobler now. Then with 4 laps to go, is Parachki going to get the move done? I think points are probably out of the question now for the Macedonian driver. It's been a race to forget for Parachki, and he hasn't got the move done. Tobler able to hang on, and Koenig is not far behind, and Parachki's off!
Oh no!
Made a mistake!
He's hit the wall!
He's not got any damage, and Koenig... No, that wasn't Koenig, that was Avion. Just was enough. to avoid him there. That could have been a dangerous rejoin, but thankfully no collision there. But very lucky not to sustain any damage there, Blake.
Yep. Yes, indeed. That was really clumsy by Paratsky, and that was very close between Albion and Paratsky. Now, my breath almost took my heart away for a second there. But meanwhile, Razan is gaining very, very quickly onto Chelly. Really, really quick and fast.
Razan on the inside of Ticelli. These two are in Group 2 cars, of course, so kind of a battle here between who's the highest Group 2 car, and Razan takes 4th with ease there. Up to P4 goes Mohamed Razan in the Porsche, and that's currently 12 points for the Indonesian driver at this point, if he can keep this up.
Yeah, I think Ticelli either lost some pace or either just went too hard on the tyres, so Ticelli's definitely fallen off or they made a mistake somewhere, because Ticelli is definitely not on any good pace at all, really.
No, definitely not. But the question is, does Razan have enough pace to get hold of Ionescu? He's only got, 2 and a bit laps in which to do so. So I think it's going to be a bit too much of a challenge for the Indonesian. But he's also got a fender from Ticelli again, because Ticelli has not given up yet on Razan as they go side by side down towards the left-hander. But Razan is just going to hold on for the moment as Ticelli takes a wider line through into the Parabolica. It's got another name. Interior, that's the one. That's that really. Bit of a strange name to call Parabolica, but there we are. As Koenig is not far behind these guys, has just started his penultimate lap of the race here at the Lisbon ePrix. As here is Ionescu, who's got a 2.2 second cushion over Razan at the moment. It's got up to 2.3 now, so I think as long as he makes no mistakes, I think Ionescu should comfortably hold on to that final podium place as Koenig now attempts to pull a lap on Michael Mocho, which he does do now, and as he is looking good at the moment to take victory. But of course, anything could still happen in these remaining 2 laps. I know that in another series that I'm in, of course, it has been known that the race leader has retired on the final lap on Grand Prix 4, so just bear that one in mind. So if a day like that ever happens, because it is possible on this game, but it is quite rare. It's a good flag just in front, and it's Carpenter and Tobler. Oh, there's been a crash. My God! It looked like a dangerous rejoin from I think that was Aviard there, or it was Carpenter. It was one of the two, but it has been damage done, and Tobler has had an incident. Has that put Parachki into the points or not? Because I'm not 100% sure. The answer to that is no, but I'm pretty sure somebody did a dangerous rejoin.
No, it's not in the points. But that was a dangerous crash regardless. So Tobler is just trying to go around the outside into Parabolica. Actually,
it was an aquaplane moment.
That was stupid from Carpenter. That was so stupid from Carpenter.
That was an aquaplane moment there. He aquaplaned on the wet weather conditions and was basically just a passenger. So I wouldn't blame Carpenter too much on that one, but I will blame him for this because this was a dangerous rejoin here.
Yeah.
For Carpenter that has given him and Aviard damage as a result. So yeah. I would not be surprised if he gets a time penalty for that.
Yeah.
A 25-second time penalty for Carpenter. It's the dangerous rejoin rule. So it's a 25-second time penalty for Carpenter, so yeah, fully deserved, really. I'm not going to blame him for that Tobler one, because that was aquaplaning, but I think you can definitely blame him for that one with Aviar, because that was...
I mean, nobody else thought it was Denholm.
Denholm, mechanical failure. Mechanical failure for Denholm, and I think he was in the points, if I'm not mistaken. No, he wasn't. I do apologise here, he wasn't, as Prazan is taking 7th on Team by the cameras. It's a gearbox issue that's taking care of Ross Denholm there, so that's another retirement there, but I think he will still be classified because he has done 90% of the race system. But meanwhile, Marvo Koenig has started his final lap here at Estoril, and well, it's been a brilliant race for him nonetheless. He started in 2nd place. He eventually got the lead off of Ionescu, I think on lap 3 or lap 2. Held on to lead for the moment, but then Jackson cruised by, and it looked like for a moment that Jackson was going to win the race. But then, of course, the conditions changed. We had the impromptu stops. Koenig stayed out a lot longer, which at the time looked like it was going to be a mistake. But then Jackson got held up in the pits, gave Koenig enough of an edge to jump him in the pits. And then when Jackson retired, he's just basically been out on his own, and he's looking good to make it 6 different winners in 6 races in this season. We're halfway into the season and we haven't yet got a double winner, and it looks like that streak is going to continue. Jackson, of course, won the first race at Sao Paulo. We had Robert Ionescu win at Mexico City, Michael Mocho win at Atlanta, Santino Andreoli win at Miami. Of course, we had Dominic Dicelli win at Portimao, and it looks like Marvo Koenig is going to become the 6th different winner as he's taken a bit of a wide line there through into the corner. It looked like he had a bit of an active moment there.
Koenig, you're trying to scare us.
That was a bit of a heart in your mouth moment there, but Koenig able to keep the car on the track as he's now coming up towards the final 2 turns for the 32nd and final time as the aquaplaning is starting to kick in for these drivers. But now Koenig around the final corner for the 32nd and final time. A brilliant drive for the German. He's going to become the 6th different winner in 6 races. And finally some good luck arises as Marvo Koenig is going to win the Lisbon ePrix here at the Circuito do Estoril. A dominant drive from the German and well deserved indeed. 6 different winners in 6 races. The streak continues this season.
That proves that Formula E is the most chaotic series in GP4 by a mile.
Mosley crossed the line in second. A good result for him indeed. He picks up second. Ionescu should cross the line in 3rd position as Kochi Chion will cross the line in 16th position in the Mahindra, and just behind that is Ionescu. Ionescu will take the final podium spot in 3rd, will cut the gap to Andrioli's result. Razan 4th, Dicelli 5th, Aviard 17th. Meanwhile, we've got a big battle for 6th going on here between Kulizek and Prazan as they are battling for 6th, but it looks like Kulizek might just have enough of a gap to stay in front. Prazan has been closing in him for quite a while. In fact, Kulizek aquaplanes just a bit into that second to last corner. Can Prazan take full advantage of that and try and get him around the parabolic? I don't think he will. I think Kulizek is just going to hold on, or is he? Because Prazan has got some insane traction coming out of the final turn, and it's going to be side by side across the line. Who's going to get 6th? It's going to be Kulizek. Kulizek just holds on to 6th. Prazan 7th. Demel in 8th. Prosa just close behind in 9th. As Kwan is going to pick up the final points place in 10th in the DS Cheetah, so no points for Enis Puacci on a race that he should have really taken advantage of Andrioli's retirement. He's going to get no points and he's going to kick himself as a result. Coach on Chion just misses out in points in 11th. Sana Chue, thanks to all that carnage, is going to cross the line in 12th. Then it is going to be Puacci in 13th, and that's the race result done with. And I will need to double check where Carpenter ended up in the order because of that 25-second time penalty. So we'll quickly check that because he was a lap down, it seems, as a result. Just going to quickly check where he will end up. Carpenter did cross the line in 14th position, but what about the rest of the drivers who were behind him? So you had Tobler. He's going to get 14th out of that, so he gains a place from Carpenter. What about Kochi Chion? He crossed the line and he's going to gain a place as well. So 15th now for Carpenter, as Aviar crossed the line in 17th, I think that said, in fact. So does he gain anything from that? I think I'll try and work that out a little bit later on, because otherwise I'll be here forever and Yuri wants to get this over with. So, Marvo Koenig wins the race with Jake Tilsley in 2nd, Robert Ionescu 3rd, with Mohamed Razan in 4th, Dominic Dicelli in 5th, with Wojtek Kulizek in 6th, Aji Prazan finished in 7th place in the end, followed in 8th place by, if we scroll down, Rafael Demel in 8th, Alex Broster 9th, Nguyen Min Kwan completes the points in 10th. Coach Chun Ching on 11th with Sana Chue in 12th and his Puacci 13th. Owen Carpenter was 14th, but I think he's going to drop to around 16th or 17th thanks to his penalty. We will check on that. Tobler 15th, Kochi Chion 16th, Leighton Aviard in 17th, with Mocho in 18th, and Denholm classified in 19th despite his retirement, with Santino Andrioli, Jaswant Kumar, and Brandon Jackson being the retirements of the day. And the fastest lap, who gets the 2 bonus points? It is Marvo Koenig. So Koenig, along with the 25 points he gets for a win, he also gets 2 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race. So 27 points going the way to Marvo Koenig. But what a race, Blake.
Yeah, there's so many moments in the race that, and even one of the moments in the race could be for the World Championship, especially for Santino Andrioli.
Indeed so. Well, that has been it then from the Lisbon ePrix. I hope you have enjoyed it. A very, very exciting race nonetheless. And, 6 different winners in 6 races. Will we get a 7th? Well, we won't have to wait too long for the next Formula E race, because it's back because the next Formula E race is on next weekend at the Motorland Aragon circuit for the Tourelle. It is according to the calendar. So, not according to your sheet that you gave me. So, anyway, it says it's on next week, but we will clarify that anyway. But, of course, tomorrow we, of course, have the World Champ Car race at Silverstone, so do look forward for that. In fact, there's 4 races happening for World Champ Car. There's, of course, the World Champ Car meeting we obviously have World Champ Car at Silverstone. We also have the F2, the top class, and of course the entrance series as well. So a lot going on at Silverstone. But that has been it then, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, don't forget that the sign-up's open tonight at 10 p.m. BST. So look forward to that. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Blake Moore, and we'll see you guys for the next one.